black woman, which is just bear witness to the teachings of the Honorable Minister Louis, or the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you all for allowing me these few words as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. And please help me welcome another student in the ministry class, Sister Kenya Muhammad, with a round of applause.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you all in the greeting words of peace and paradise. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. I, of course, have to thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his Assistant Minister, Brother Ishmael Muhammad, for allowing me and us this opportunity to speak today. With everything, brothers and sisters, that happens on a daily basis in the chaotic world that we're in, it's so much violence, as we know, so much misfortune and injustice. It should be clear to us by now that this world's time is up and that we are in need of a new reality. I know I'm not the only one that's tired of waking up every morning surrounded by filth. I'm tired of having to worry about being mistreated or robbed or even killed. But brothers and sisters, I'm happy to say that there is a new reality on the way in. And guess what? You and I are to be the cornerstones of that brand new world. All praise is due to Allah. Now, we are living in such hell every day that the only justified reality for us to come into is heaven. And there's only one person that is both qualified and able to produce such a beautiful and perfect world. If this world that we're in is promoted by, prolonged by, and was made by Satan, and it is, then God himself has to come and establish that universal government of peace for us. That is why the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, brothers and sisters, is so valuable, because they introduce us to the precious time that we're in. And it reintroduces us to our divine nature and acquaints us with that one that will bring about the heaven that we desire, which is God himself. Now, let's take a brief pause, because I know sometimes when we talk about heaven, right, and when we talk about the kingdom of God, we go all the way up here. And we in the clouds and thinking about that, you know, that mystical, spooky kind of existence, but that is not the realm that we can even obtain that in. That is not real. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said heaven represents a state of peace, where the citizens of heaven live in accordance with the laws, rules, statutes, and commandments of Allah God. This is also called in the scripture the kingdom of God. He said it is called the hereafter. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the hereafter means here on earth after Satan and the works of him have been destroyed. Heaven, brothers and sisters, is uppermost happiness. It's not a momentary or fleeting kind of emotion, but being in heaven is something that you will enjoy every day. And why is that? Because the state of heaven is when all of us are in accord with the will and the way of God. So the question then becomes, well, how will this heaven on earth be established? God, as I said, chose us, the black man and woman in America, the rejected and the despised, to be the cornerstone of his new kingdom of righteousness. And I humbly say to us that the proof of that is right here in the work of the women and men of the nation of Islam. We, brothers and sisters, are a nation within a nation that is growing to become independent to the ways and systems of this world. So even in our infancy, we have our own schools. We have our own businesses. We have our own government and army that is all a part of the groundwork of establishing that universal government of peace. So in closing, brothers and sisters, I have to say that, of course, that heaven comes from God, right? But it comes through someone. And that's someone that God uses to bring in his heaven, his new reality, a universal government of peace, is his co-creator, his second self, the woman. Us being the co-creator with God, are whom that kind of happiness, love, and peace will be established through. And this is why I thank Allah, brothers and sisters, for the class of the women of the Nation of Islam, the MGT and GCC. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. The MGT, brothers and sisters, are being taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan through our beautiful captain, Sister Sandy Muhammad. We are being taught our divine nature and purpose and how to act and dress in accord with that nature and that purpose. And that is why, as women of God, and I just love to just reflect on this point. Just bear with me for 1 second. As women of God, when you look at me, or you look at the women in the MGT, you cannot see all of the hurt, all of the pain, and all of the mistakes that we have made before we came to Allah God. You cannot see all of the before of what we once were, because Allah does not care about what we were before, but he came to use us to help him bring about his government of peace. Thank you all for listening. As I leave you as I came, Assalamu alaikum. At this time, please help me to welcome back to the rostrum Student Minister Abel Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Let's give another round of applause to Brother Tariq and Sister Kenya Muhammad. This is what the guidance and wisdom of Allah, as given to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, produced. Young men and women who are striving to be doers of the word and not just speakers of the word. All praise is due to Allah. You heard Brother Tariq, and if you've watched the news, you saw that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, along with thousands of others, was in Detroit the last few days to pay his respects to our dear sister, Aretha Franklin. Well, in that city, we have a brother who has blessed us with his presence here today, along with some of the brothers and sisters from Detroit, Michigan. Please welcome to the rostrum here at Mosque Mariam, our brother, student minister from Mosque number 1 in Detroit, Michigan, Brother Troy Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger and his exalted Christ. I thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for the opportunity to come before you. I thank Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad for the opportunity to speak to you this morning. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote in Message to the Black Man, Islam will put the black man on top of civilization. This past few days in Detroit, I witnessed a black man on top of civilization in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I am honored beyond words to get in from Detroit this morning and to be given the opportunity to testify. Now, testify means to give evidence as a witness. I was tired from working with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but I knew I had to get to Chicago so that I can give my testimony to the people of God. I had to give my testimony of what I saw in Detroit concerning the works of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, they ask us in court, will you tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Well, we're in Mosque Mariam, so I have no other reason but to tell the truth today. The scriptures say, where there's no vision, the people perish. I listened to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan give a vision for the city of Detroit. He said, I want 50,000 papers, final call, given as a gift to the people of Detroit, no charge. I want 50,000 papers given out by the FOI and MGT as a tribute to Aretha Franklin and a gift from myself and the Nation of Islam. It was a big vision. However, within 2 days, I witnessed the FOI and MGT in the community bring his vision to life, 50,000 papers delivered. He then expanded his vision to 75,000, then to 90,000. And I'm pleased to report from Detroit, all praise is due to Allah, 90,000 papers have been delivered to the people in the city of Detroit. $90,000 papers delivered hand to hand to the people in the city of Detroit from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We thank the FOI and MGT of the Central Region. We thank the Final Call staff for all of their help. Brother Don Enoch Muhammad, Brother Richard Muhammad, Brother Fontaine Muhammad, for helping to make history. And I must thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for giving me personally a better understanding of that scripture, where there's no vision, the people perish. Because he gave us a vision, and I witnessed how that vision brought life to the city of Detroit. How his gift of the Final Call newspaper lit people up. How his gift brought smiles and life and light and energy to a people who had fallen and really couldn't get up until they heard the word and saw the message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I saw a city dead but began to be revived. I saw a city that had flatlined but now it was getting back up. I watched the people as he traveled throughout the city come to life with just a glimpse of him. Every venue that he attended, people clamoring, the people uplifted, just knowing that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan walked past them. In the hood, you could witness that his presence alone had the dry bones rattling around. I'm testifying to you because I saw the bum on the corner light up. I saw the powerful and famous line up. What manner of man is this that we see in the Honorable Louis Farrakhan? I saw in his presence Ezekiel prophesizing to the dry bones. I saw in his person the scripture concerning Jesus making the blind see, the deaf hear, the dumb understand. In his travel throughout Detroit, I saw how Islam, as taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, even in his silence, gave him divine force and power over every circumstance. I have to witness, I have to testify to the divinity and what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has consumed from Master Fard Muhammad, from the guidance of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. As these past few days, I saw David, I saw Solomon, I saw Jesus, Moses, and Muhammad all rolled up into one man in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I want to tell you today, this is my testimony, that you're following the right one. You're looking at the right man. We got the right guidance. He's trying to give it to us. So all we have to do is stand up, pick up our cross, and follow that man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I thank you for listening as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
All praise is due to Allah. We're almost at that moment right now to hear from our guest speaker today, Student Minister Nuri Muhammad. So to bring him on, please welcome. Here at Mas Mariam, we're very familiar with our brother, and as I bring him up, I want you to just keep this in mind. Sometimes when people are before us, often we can become too familiar. And we don't appreciate sometimes what we have at home. I want to welcome to this rostrum, to bring in our keynote speaker today. Please welcome a beautiful brother who feeds us weekly here and is a hard-working helper of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Please welcome the National Assistant Minister to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Minister Ishmael Muhammad.
Allahu Akbar. Thank you. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, let us give praise and thanks to Allah for His many blessings, his many gifts, his goodness, and his mercy to the human family. It is written in the scriptures that the people who sat in darkness testify that they have indeed seen a great light. We are among those who bear witness that the light indeed not only shines in the darkness, but it's present in the darkness. And when you have that light, you have the presence of God Himself among you. So we bear witness as students and followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that Allah came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the great Mahdi, that God that was promised in the scriptures, that he would come to seek and to save that which is lost. We thank Allah for his intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, for his raising from among us his messenger Messiah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we would not be bearing witness today with conviction, with joy, with love, if it were not for one man's love of Allah and his Messiah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, their divine reminder and servant among us. I greet you all with great excitement with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Our Jesus is mentioned in both the Holy Quran and the Bible. In the Bible, Jesus comes unto his own. And the scripture says, but they received him not. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness doesn't understand. Well, darkness is synonymous with falsehood and deceit. So the people have been so deceived about God and about Jesus. And the people from whom the Jesus is raised aren't looking for Jesus to come in their image. They're not looking for the Jesus to be a reflection of what they see in the mirror. They're looking for the slave master, the image of the slave master. I was very privileged and blessed to be in Detroit with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And when a white man came into that church by the name of Bill Clinton, I thought another Jesus had come in. He was already present, but the people just stood and clapped. And I looked over, I said, oh my God, what's wrong with us? Then we insult the fact that God blessed us with a real black president in Barack Obama, but we still introduce this white man as our first black president. What an insult Now, this Jesus was given by God a very special heart. It is a heart made over time from the Creator himself. That's why Jesus said, I was with him from the beginning. Oh, I know it's not my day to preach, but let me second our minister Troy and just do a little testifying here before we bring up a light from the light and our student minister Nuri Muhammad. But this special heart made by Allah himself to be a redeemer of the people and to be a light from himself to the world of man and mankind. When Jesus was on the cross, he asked the Father, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Now, Jesus is not talking about the enemy. The enemy knows what he does. The wicked do their wickedness consciously, intentionally, deliberately. You can't change the nature of the devil. So Jesus is not asking the Father to forgive the devil. He's asking the Father to forgive those to whom he was sent for their ignorance in their treatment of him. For if they really knew who he is, they would give him the honor and the respect that he justly and rightly deserves. I, like you, was offended. You put the greatest black leader, teacher, guide, and example on the dais. The host pastor didn't even honor him by recognizing him. And I, like you, and they were coming to me, is the minister going to speak? The common man and even some of the artists, is the minister going to speak? I mean, you have him right up there. But the minister didn't go to speak. I'm going to tell you the kind of man you and I have. A humble man. A humble man. A humble man. A man that's not self-seeking. A man that's not looking to be recognized by men, to be seen of men. He wants to be pleasing in the sight of God. He asked the family before coming if they would permit him to be present, to be one of the mourners. Think about that. We didn't even expect that our minister would even be put on the stage. They told us they would give us 4 seats. Of course, There's a lot more of us there than 4. And you saw the minister. We were there from 9:30 in the morning to 7 o'clock, while many were excusing themselves. The minister sat there from the beginning of the program, before the program even started, all the way to the prayer was said at the end. What kind of man do you and I have among us? He didn't have to speak. He did speak. His presence spoke. So I know naturally we're offended. The minister did, but he did speak. What a clean glass. Those in the news media were commenting on how Bill Clinton, Al Sharpton, and Reverend Jackson were looking at Ariana Grande. Not Louis Farrakhan, not my teacher. Circulating in the internet is how the host pastor inappropriately cuffed our sister, groping her. That was offensive, disgraceful, embarrassing. But the greater offense was not acknowledging the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's just how I see it. But the minister didn't go there for that purpose. You watched him, he enjoyed every speaker, every performer. And you saw on television the honor and the respect that was given by the performers and the artists and the speakers when they finished their presentation, greeting the minister. But you should have saw it before the cameras. They all came to greet the minister. And the devil, he's so upset because Farrakhan is not your man. That's God's man and the people's man. And the great outpour of love that was demonstrated in the streets at the concert the night before. I mean, just cheering the minister because they know that's our man. That's our champion of freedom, justice, and equality. That's a man that has not bent, does not bow, is not afraid of the enemy like the rest of these Negroes that are so afraid, that are in bed with the enemy. And when the cameras come on, they act as though the man is a leper, got a contagious disease. But it's all right. The time is coming very, very soon that we will say exactly what the scriptures say that the people will say. Indeed, indeed, we have a prophet among us. So this was a great weekend. And those 90,000 copies of the Final Call newspaper, the minister spoke in that paper of his love for Aretha Franklin. So we thank again student minister Troy Mohammed, brother Captain Harmon Mohammed, sister Captain Missy Mohammed from Detroit Mosque number 1, the FOI and MGT of Detroit and the state of Michigan, and from other cities that came in, brother Fontaine Mohammed, and all of those that were in the streets from Tuesday of last week all the way up to yesterday. So, brothers and sisters, the minister spoke. He spoke loudly. See, when the light is among you, the sun doesn't communicate in human words. That light is from the sun speaks. It illuminates, it speaks to us through its warmth and its energy. You don't see any lips moving from the sun. Its presence speaks volumes. He is a light among us. And those of us that recognize that light, we have a duty, as Brother Troy came before us and others, to testify that that light is among us. So may Allah continue to bless the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And what it showed is what the minister has been saying all along. Satan and the satanic Jews are in control of our talented, gifted, and brilliant men and women in the artistic world of music and film. That is what it showed. So you knew, oh man, they're not letting the minister speak. See? That's because they fear the enemy. And they love the white man. And our lessons say because the white man gives them nothing. So I thank Allah for our beloved minister. You speak, if you feel he needed to say something, then you speak the truth as you know it. And you speak from your platform. And you speak on the social media. And you spread the truth as you have received it and know it. But know that this is our time. So it is my great pleasure to welcome back to this rostrum one of the hard-working student ministers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I've had the great privilege of knowing my brother since he was a teenager, coming into the ranks at the age of, you were 16, right? 17 years old. And he grew fast in the ranks. He was an assistant minister at the age of 19 and became the student minister of Muhammad Mosque number 74 in Indianapolis at 22 years, 21. And I have had the pleasure of working with him. I'm so proud of his representation of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan all over this country, in high schools, on the college campuses, in grammar schools, in the prisons, in churches, wherever he is invited and allowed to speak. He is a wonderful representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It is my joy and honor to present to us again Student Minister Nuri Muhammad of Muhammad Mosque, number 74, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad most certainly is his messenger. We are eternally grateful to Allah for his merciful intervention in our affairs in the form of a well-made man named Master Father Muhammad. We thank this one wise, true, and living God for coming among us and for raising up in our midst his messenger, Messiah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And today, in this modern moment in time, we are eternally grateful to that same supreme being for bringing up in our midst in this dispensation of time a man that if you look at him, you are looking at the spiritual DNA of Master Father Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad clothed in one flesh. I'm talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the man that taught me everything that I know, and is the example of the man that I hope to one day become. It is an honor and a privilege before we begin to extend to you the love and greetings of Assalamu alaikum from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We will do just that, and if anybody looking around at us thinking there's something wrong with us for what we just did, no, ain't nothing wrong with us. There's something wrong with you if you had a problem with it, though. Because last I checked, right here in Chicago, Illinois, when that no-good ham sandwich eating judge walks out, or one of these corrupt congressmen, or hell, the head of the city council, the bailiff say, what, all rise? And then they have the nerve to say the honorable judge so-and-so. Now, well, Farrakhan more honorable than any judge in Chicago or anywhere else on the face of this planet Earth. And he's more worthy to be stood for after all he's been standing for us for 63 years. So we always stand and give the greetings back to our beloved, beautiful teacher and guide that Allah has raised among us today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Today, for the next few minutes of the program, and before I even say a word, I wanted to give and ask if you would join me and give a great round of applause to all of the presenters that came up on the mic today. We thank Allah for each and every brother and sister. And I want to ask you to show a special kind of appreciation to a man that has a heart like the heart of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his father, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. He is one of the most kindest and most considerate, most loving, most honorable and noble men I have ever been blessed to meet in my life. I thank Allah, we thank Allah for our national assistant, a good, great representative of his father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you so much, Minister Ishmael Muhammad, for your beautiful, uncompromising, bold, and loving way of teaching and training. All praises are due to Allah. Today we have taken up a very serious subject. It's titled, How to Love a Black Woman and How to Love a Black Man. If we wanted to make the lecture real short today, we could just say, brothers, treat your woman the way the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan treats Mother Khadijah. If we wanted to make this lecture real short today, we could say, sisters, treat your man the way Mother Khadijah treats the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you for listening. That would be sufficient. Is that right? When you look at them, they are a living witness that when marriage is done right, it allows us to convert our houses into the appropriate spiritual recharge centers by which we can unplug from this no good, wicked, immoral, white supremacist, devilish, satanic world and come home and plug into a pure source of love and extract peace and power for ourselves. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said this in 1984 about the importance of marriage. He said, the success of our marriages is the success of our nation. You can't have a strong nation without strong communities. You can't have a strong community without having strong families. And you can't have a strong family if you don't have strong marriages. Marriage serves then as the cornerstone of all nationhood. He then went on to say that after studying and observing all of the formidable enemies that are coming against the rise of the black man and woman in America and throughout the world, he said that our greatest threat, our number one threat to our national security. No, he didn't say the Illuminati. He didn't say the Bilderbergers. He didn't say the Trilateral Commission. He didn't say the 8 royal families or the House of Rothschild. He said the number one threat to our national security is divorce among us as a people. This means as soldiers, we are commissioned, of course, to be prepared at all times to lay our lives down on the battlefield in a physical way. But if the number one threat to our national security is not an AK-47 or a Desert Eagle or a bomb or a sword or some external white enemy, but it is an internal disease rotting our homes called divorce, then with that same vigor and that same fight, drive, and focus, that same fortitude, we will stand up to the Klan or stand up to the skinheads or stand up to any white supremacists. We must also stand up against divorce and eradicate this from the black family in black America if it's our number one threat to our national security. So today, we will attempt to extract the principles of wisdom that have come from the 8 articles written by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan leading up to the Million Family March. The jewels and nuggets of wisdom that he laid out in Keys to Successful Marriage, Part 1, 2, 3, Domestic Violence, Part 1 and 2, and What is Your Role, delivered right here at the basement of Mosque Mariam. And we'll multiply that by a few Bible verses and a few Quran verses, a little evidence from nature, from science, from mathematics, and from common sense. And we intend, by the grace of God, to mix all of that up together in 30 minutes and show how to love a black woman and how to love a black man. Are y'all ready for the ride? Well, sisters and brothers, it should be very alarming to us that in 2015, the McKinley Irving Family Law Center did a study and comparison of black marriages in 2015 versus black marriages in 1867, 2 years up from slavery. Y'all see these? That's that quote, unquote. Because in 1867, slavery wasn't over. They signed an Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. But notice that whenever they signed the Emancipation Proclamation, they never called it a Freedom Act. Emancipate and freedom are 2 different concepts. Emancipate comes from the Latin word emancipere, which means to free from the hand but not from the control. So whenever you emancipate, that means that you have let go of somebody's body, but you know that you already still have their mind. We were in a conversation when we were talking about slavery. Somebody said, look, why y'all always talking about slavery? That was then and this is now. Can't we just let bygones be? Y'all heard this stuff before too, huh? And the brother said, look, we ain't no slaves no more. I said, why you say? He said, I can go wherever I want to go. I can do whatever I want to do, and I can say whatever it is I want to say. I say, yeah, question though, where you going? What you doing? And what we talking about? And if we're not going anywhere, doing anything, or talking about nothing, that's a sign that the white man no longer needs to keep physical shackles on the hands and the feet. He's already got invisible spiritual shackles on the minds of us as a people. So whenever Abraham Lincoln signed Emancipation Proclamation, he knew he can let our hands go because we wasn't going to fight with him. He knew he can take the shackles off our feet because we wasn't going to run away or kick nobody. He knew he could take the garter off our neck that kept us bound to the slave hut because we wasn't going to run for freedom no more. But in 1867, 2 years up from slavery, quote unquote, do you know in the Constitution, when they let us go in 1865, we were given the title of freed slaves? Freed, that's an oxymoron. Either you're a slave or you know the oxymoron is, right? An oxymoron is when you would put two terms together to describe one thing that are opposite each other in nature. Like a ham sandwich on wheat bread. If you're going to eat it, you don't. I was at P.F. Chang, they had on their menu, they had something called long life noodles. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that if you are overweight or you want to live a long life, don't eat any. Long life noodles is an oxymoron. It's an oxymoron to take pure organic raw milk straight from the cow and pour it over top some Captain Crunch. That's an oxymoron. Freed slave is an oxymoron. Two concepts describing one thing that are opposite. Either you're free or you're a slave. All praise is due to Allah. But in 1867, they found that among all of the eligible adults in the black community to be married, 90% of all of us were married. And at 90%, I said 90%. And out of that 90%, we had a near 100% success ratio. That means through richer or poorer, better or worse, in sickness and in health, till what? Till death do us part. In 1867, when a black man married a black woman or a black woman married a black man, their word was bond. But in 2015, a 40% marriage ratio with a 75% divorce rate. So in 1867, when we married one another, our word was bond. But in 2015, when we married each other, our word is blonde. Y'all didn't catch that. Y'all didn't catch. You know, it's weak and depressing. If 40% is 4 out of 10. This means that for every 10 eligible brothers and sisters that have reached the age of marriage in our community, only 4 of them are actually married. And if 40% is 4 out of 10, and there is among that 40% a 75% divorce rate, 75% broken down into a fraction, scaled into a graph would be 3 out of 4. So if we've got 4 out of 10 that could be married and should be married, actually are married, and out of that 4, 3 of them will not make it, then only 1 out of 10 of every brother and sister that has reached adult age that is supposed to be in a sacred union, a covenant connection, and engaged in holy matrimony with a good man or a good woman, they're not even married. They found too in the McKinley-Irving Law Study that out of those that were married and that did get a divorce, that the marriage ended in 4 years and they got divorced in 8. Y'all didn't hear what I just said. How could somebody be married and it end in 4 and get a divorce in 8? See, brothers and sisters, to my single brothers and sisters, listen to me. Being single is not the highest form of loneliness. No, the highest form of loneliness is being locked into a relationship with the wrong person. So even though they got a divorce in 8, but it ended in 4, it had already been over, but something happened and they tried to hold. Y'all understand what they needed to how to. There's a saying that I read once that said this: most people die at the age of 19 and are buried at the age of 65. This means that at the age of 19, isn't it something at the age of 19? It's the age of 18 that we get finished with and leave the public school system. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, when he described the public school system, he said it was the white man's killing field. Question though, when we drop our babies off at 6 years of age for first grade, we pick them up when they're 18 years of age with a diploma, they're physically alive. Well, if it's a killing field, dear apostle, what is it killing? The bodies of our sons and daughters have been left intact, but what has happened is those no good, spirit-killing, white supremacist, black-hating teachers inside the public school system have killed our sons and daughters' hopes, dreams, aspirations, and their power to achieve in the real world. So by the time they get out of the school, they are broken men and women. Did you know that? That's why you got to bring your children to Muhammad University of Islam, where we teach the knowledge of God, self, time, the devil, and what must be done. Do you know, brothers and sisters, that both black and white children start school the same way? All the mothers know I'm telling the truth. When you dropped your baby off, especially if it was preschool, if you looked over and seen the white mother dropping her baby off, your baby was holding on to your leg, crying, didn't want to go, and so was the white baby. Is this the truth? But you notice as you peeled your son, you peeled your daughter off, they peeled their son or daughter off, both the white and the black child walked into the classroom sniffling, crying, head down, moving real slow. Is this right? But notice that as that black and white child began to matriculate through 12 years of this public school education, they're learning about Benjamin Banneker or Benjamin Franklin, a white man. Thomas Jefferson, a white man. Newton, a white man. Einstein, a white man. Plato, a white man. Aristotle, Socrates, Thales, Hypothagorus, white men. And by the time they leave the school, because that white child has been learning about somebody that looks like him, that has accomplished great feats in the past, the spiritual peripheral vision is activated in that white child's mind. And they tell themselves, well, wait a minute, if somebody that looked like me did that great stuff back then, then I can do great stuff right now. So we watch the white child leave the school with their shoulders back, head held high, chest out, ready to be a conqueror of the known world. But the little black child didn't learn about nobody that looked like himself. He learned about people that looked like his enemy. So when he leaves the school after 12 years, not only is his head down, but his pants is down too. I submit to us that as parents, if we would give our babies real homework, not regurgitate what white people gave them through this white supremacist curriculum in the public school system, but teach them about a knowledge of themselves And I'm telling you, you take a black child and you let him learn about W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And when that black boy and black girl leaves, they will have their chest out, head held high, ready to conquer the known world. All praises are due to Allah. So, on plantation life, there's a book out that's called Advice Among Masters. This book is very hard to get, and I have to tell you a secret. The only reason I bought it is because I seen the minister holding it up. And whatever has gone into making him what he is, I want some of that. What about y'all? Brothers and sisters, can I just stop for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the most beautiful human being that I have ever seen, ever heard of, ever read of in my life. He is the personification of love. This man is so powerful in his righteousness that even though he didn't even say a word at Aretha Franklin's funeral, he taught the loudest message. I looked at the minister with love. He had admiration. He gave each one that presented undivided attention. I said, man, look at this man. He's teaching even when he ain't talking. We can learn just by observing the beautiful way of this man. All praise is due to Allah. Well, whenever we were in slavery, after I seen this book, him holding it up, I started looking for it and to show you how powerful the presence of the minister is. Of course, you know, to the enemy, but even to us. When I started looking up the book, while he was holding the book up, live, the book was $30. Within 3 minutes, it was $90. Within 5 minutes, it was $140. Within 10 minutes, it wasn't available nowhere, at all, no more. Boy, is that powerful? So we got into the book. It's called Advice Among Masters, the Ideal Enslaved Management of the Old South. And what we found, sisters and brothers, is that there's many protocols the slave master employed to break the black man and black woman down from being the kings and the queens and the gods and the inventors and the civilization builders that we once were before we were kidnapped, Caucasianized, westernized, and Christianized by the white man. But there were three things, according to this book, that were made illegal for slaves to participate in. One, it was illegal for slaves to pray. Did y'all hear what I just said? Why would you make it against the law to pray? It's because prayer is a means of interrupting and interfering with life's struggles by the proper use of your own voice. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said this: sincere prayer is to the mind and the soul what soap and water is to the body. So since it was illegal to pray, notice that now when we pray, we are on our knees with our hands in front of us. This was something we learned to do because we were sneaking prayers. We were already in the cotton field picking tobacco, picking indigo and picking cotton. And since our hands were in front of us while we were picking the cotton, Master wasn't looking. We would close our eyes and act like we were picking the cotton, but we were sneaking a prayer. But if you and I are free men and free women, as today's program was opened up, we asked everybody if you would please stand. Get off your knees, get back up. Don't have your hands closed in front of you. Have them stretched out in this manner, symbolic to receiving the gift, because you're free men and free women now. Number two, what was made illegal for the slaves to do? it was illegal for slaves to read. You remember in the movie Birth of a Nation when Nat Turner? Oh, that's my kind of preacher right there. I wish we had more preachers like Nat Turner. That preacher right there was a different kind of preacher. Yes, ma'am. You watching me on the screen, eh? She got me on the phone and in person. All praise is due to Allah. Y'all better give it up for that little sister. Take a lot of courage to run all the way down front like that. Say, this is what you get from coming all out in the middle of the thing instead of standing behind the rostrum, acting like it's acceptance time. Thank you, sister, thank you. What was I saying? Reading. Nat Turner. You remember in Birth of a Nation that there was a white woman sitting on the porch in the rocking chair. And while she was on the porch in a rocking chair, she had the Bible in her hand. At a certain point, she laid the Bible down on the arm of the chair and went into the house, and then the film or the camera showed Nat Turner and then showed the rocking chair still rocking with the Bible on the arm. And whenever Nat Turner seen that the Bible was on the arm and there was no master there to govern the Bible, Nat Turner went and took that Bible. And just like it would be if you got any book, first thing you're going to do if you're going to read any book is you're going to start from the beginning. So he didn't go to that turn the other cheek. Love your enemy. Pray for those who spitefully use you. When he cracked open the book from the very beginning, it started talking about Moses freeing the slaves. And it said an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and a life for a life. So a new breed of preacher was born from that. Y'all understand what I'm trying to say? The reason why it was illegal for us to read is because the brain is a muscle. And like any other muscle, the brain functions under the same logic of all muscles. All of you that exercise, you know that when you want to get your legs strong, you do what? Squat, is that right? When you want to build up the bicep muscle, what's the appropriate exercise? Curl. If you want to get your back strong, you pull down, is that right? You want to get your chest muscle strong, you do what? Push up or push out. Well, just like you push up or push out for the chest muscle, squat for the leg muscle, pull down for the back muscle, curl up for the bicep muscle, reading is the appropriate exercise that strengthens the muscle of the brain. So they didn't want us to have a strong mind. They wanted us to have strong bodies, but weak minds. The third thing they made illegal, according to this document, is they made it illegal for black people to marry one another. Did y'all hear this? And today, I don't care how nice the wedding is. You can go to the most sophisticated, most expensive wedding that you ever go to, and at the end of all of it, ice sculptures and swans and bubbles and 17 bridesmaids, people came in on a horse, a bomber plane, dropped them all. I mean, it don't matter how, they come all extravagant. And at the end of the cycle, we still jump over the broom. That's because on the plantation, it was illegal for us to marry one another. So what we had to do on the plantation, since it was against the law to marry, but it wasn't against the law to sweep master's porch. It wasn't against the master's law to sweep master's driveway. So we always were allowed to have cleaning utensils in our possession. So whenever the master wasn't looking, if I had somebody that I liked or I had somebody that I fell in love with, I would have to sneak a wedding, and we would just jump over the broom in front of the elders, and we would pronounce them husband and wife, and then go back to business as usual. Why, question, would our slave masters make it illegal for us to marry one another? It's because they have always known that the real power base of black people has always been proper black family life structure. It has been known that not behind, but right beside every strong man has always been a strong black woman. Do you know that in 1798, when the English government hired Napoleon to go into Africa and destroy all images of black greatness, anything that showed black excellence, they made sure they wiped it out. They went into all of the temples and destroyed all of the images of the messengers and the prophets that had skin colors like ours. And whenever Napoleon came to the base of the Pyramid Giza, which is considered now to be the greatest living wonder of the world, white people can't figure out how do we build this thing? Here you got a structure that's 451 feet tall, goes down into the earth 451 feet deep, covers 13.5 acres of land, and it's made of 1,003.5-ton blocks of gold, marble, and granite, and each stone is stacked mathematically precise, east to west, north to south, up in the air, down into the earth, not even deviate 1 square inch, and we built it without Caterpillar or John Deere. They want to know, how did y'all do that? And when Napoleon came to the base of this Pyramid Giza, he noticed that our ancestors had left something at the base that's called the Sphinx. And the Sphinx is the body of a lion with the head of a black man on it. You say, well, how do you know it was a black man's head on it? Because the lips and nose are missing right now. Now, I know what they told us in school. They said that the only reason why the nose and the lips are missing off the head of the Sphinx is because of weathering and natural erosion. Well, question, why come weathering and natural erosion didn't mess with the claws? Why come the tail is still intact? Why come the mane still looks good? Why did it only decay the nose and the lips? It's because on the head of the Sphinx was a broad-nosed black man, a thick-lipped black man. And they knew that if black people would see a king of the jungle, the lion, with their head on it, then they would ask the question, what are my ancestors trying to tell me? Well, wait a minute, if the lion is the king of the jungle and my head is on it, then maybe my ancestors are trying to suggest to me that I'm the king of this planet. I'm the king of the universe. So they blew it off so we wouldn't have that image. Not to mention on the bottom of the Sphinx is the Arabic writing Abu el-Hal, which means father of everything. See, you can't make the father of everything a slave. You can't make the father of everything a sharecropper. You can't make the father of everything the type of Negro that will get on their feet and clap for Bill Clinton, but sit down and act like everything is cool if they don't let Farrakhan speak. No, if you and I were the father of everything, real black men and black women, we would have remembered that it was under Bill Clinton that the crack law came out. Don't you realize that all of your damn cousins and your uncles and your aunties and your fathers and your mothers are serving life sentences right now because of Bill Clinton's crooked policies? Don't you forget that. If we were the father of everything, then it's hard to make us into a slave. But not only did Napoleon destroy all of the images of black greatness that he found inside of the temples and inside of the mystery schools in Africa, and there were many of them. What? Imhotep was black. Shaka Zulu was black. Queen Nzinga was black. Nefertiti was black. King Tut, black. And according to the Bible, Moses stuck his hand into the bosom of the Lord, and when he took it out, it was turned white. Moses was black too. Abraham was mistaken for being an Egyptian. Egypt is in Africa, and in Greek, Egypt is Aegyptus, which means land of black and burnt skin. That means that Moses, come on now, Abraham was black too. Job said, my skin is black. Solomon said it like this, I am black but comely. Oh, ye daughters of Jerusalem. Well, wait a minute, is not Solomon David's son? So Solomon is of the seed of David and he's black. But according to the Bible, Jesus said about himself in red writing, I am of the root and the offspring of David. So if you are the seed of David, Jesus, and Solomon was the seed of David, and Solomon was black, then Jesus was a black man too. Maybe that's why that when they went to hide Jesus, when King Herod and the armies were going after Jesus, they didn't send Jesus to Italy. They didn't send him to Greece. They didn't try to hide Jesus in the caves of Germany. When the angel came unto Joseph and Mary and told them where to hide Jesus, they said, hide him in Egypt. Well, wait a minute. Another word for hide is camouflage. When you're camouflaging, you're blending in with the color of the environment. So when the army goes on a night mission, they wear black because it blends in with the darkness of the night. When they're in the jungle, they wear green because it blends in with the color of the trees. When they're in desert, they wear beige because it blends in with the color of the sand. When they're in the snow, they wear white because that's the color of the snow. Well, if Egypt is the land of black and burnt-skinned people and the hide means to camouflage and Jesus never got caught, that means he must have been able to blend in with the color of his environment. He was black, just like the people of Egypt. And I'm saying, to us, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad took this thing that you call black consciousness to a whole nother level. See, to learn about a black inventor, a black king or a black queen, that'll give you a little confidence. But the most honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't say every time you look at a black man, you're looking at a king. Every time you look at a black man, you're looking at an inventor. Every time you look at a black man, you're looking at a pyramid builder. He said, every time I look at a black man, I'm looking at God. You are a direct descendant of the originator of the heavens and the earth. Black man and black woman, you are in possession of holy heredity, God's genetic makeup. You have in your blood divine DNA. You came from the royalty of the great African civilizations, but bigger than that, you came from the divinity of the supreme being that was self-created over 76 trillion years ago from triple darkness. And when you know that, no, you don't just have confidence, you have Godfidence. And when you got Godfidence, there's nothing that you put your mind on that you can't achieve. When Napoleon went inside of the Pyramid Giza, he noticed that next to Osiris was Isis. Every time he seen Alafun, right next to Alafun was his wife Ilida. He noticed that as he looked inside of this great pyramid, every time he seen Osa, right next to Osa was his wife Aset. Now when you go into the Pyramid Giza, you'll see a scraping next to most of the images of Osiris or Osa or Alafun, because they took the woman out the equation. Why, Napoleon, would you scrape off that beautiful black woman that was with these black men? It's because you knew that the power base of black people was the proper divine family structure. And not behind, but right beside. Every strong man has always been a strong woman. Okay, hold time out. Okay, sisters. Now, sisters, I'm going to say some stuff that y'all been wanting to say. But if you had said it, it might have a little resistance, might have created a little situation. But if I'm saying it, and you not saying it, then it has one effect from my mouth to the ear of the man, but you have access to what we call the ricochet effect. So if I say it and you've been wanting to say it, but you know, had you said it, it might have started a situation, but I'm the one saying it. All you got to do is say, that's right. Go ahead. Say that. Teach on that, black man. Hallelujah, amen, something. And if you bear witness to it, he'll hear it from me, and then as soon as you say, that's right, he's going to look over there. And what you will do is you will double the absorption capacity of the subconscious mind. Y'all understand what I'm trying to say? Y'all want to try it again? Okay. Tech team. Yeah, rewind. Take two. What Napoleon didn't want us to know by scraping off the images of these sisters is that not behind but right beside every strong man has always been a strong black woman. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. There's three things, sisters and brothers, that you'll notice in the images that we had. Number one, there were no men with other men. Security, security. No women with other women. Did you hear me? Second thing you notice is that none of them were boyfriending and girlfriending. The man was with his wife and the wife was with her husband. In fact, we did a word search over hundreds of different translations of the Bible and Holy Quran, and we looked up the keyword boyfriend or girlfriend. And out of hundreds of different translations of Bible and Quran, we couldn't find the word boyfriend or girlfriend nowhere in none of the books. This means that boyfriend and girlfriend is not in the language of God. Well, if it's not in the language of God, whose language are we speaking? The third thing you notice is that Imhotep had a black woman. Osiris had a black woman. Osar had a black woman. Yes, he did. Nat Turner, black woman. Imhotep, black woman. Queen Nzinga, black man. Nefertiti, black man. There was no great black man that was in a relationship with a white girl. Brothers, y'all want to try it on your side? Y'all with me? Nefertiti was with a black man. Queen Nzinga had a black man. And there was no strong woman that was not beside a white. Every strong black woman always had a strong black man right by her side. See, that's smart. Clap for both of them. That's right. That's right. Black man, the black woman has been the most loyal woman to us as black men of any woman of any other nationality, hue, race of people on the earth. She deserves to be maintained. She deserves to be protected. She deserves to be provided for. She deserves for us to catch a bullet for. She deserves for us to die for. Hell, she deserves for us to kill for. This black woman has been the greatest friend that the black man has had other than God himself. She deserves a good black man. And I can tell you this, brothers, there's not too many strong black men with a white girl. Now, that's just my non-scientific observation. And in fact, they're trying to rewrite the ICD-9 H5 handbook, which is what the doctors use to describe symptoms, to benchmark and say what diseases are. I want to present a new disease to the ICD-9 health book. It's called Beckery. Beckery. See Beyonce song Lemonade. Beckery represents a white girl. What is Beckery? Beckery is the mental and emotional castration of a black man as a direct result of a long-term relationship with a white woman. You very rarely find strong black men. In fact, sisters, am I telling the truth? You don't. When you see a black man with a white woman, he's not as strong. He a little soft. He a little timid. He a little weak. Am I telling the truth? No, to be the real man you're supposed to be, God wants you to be with Harriet Tubman. He wants you to be with Madam C.J. Walker. He wants you to be locked on with Sojourner Truth. Nefertiti, you got to be with Mother Tynetta, Mother Clara. You got to be with Mother Khadija Farrakhan if you want to be like a Farrakhan. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. Are y'all still all right? So today we want to talk for the first part of this message. How to love a black woman. Second part, how to love a black man. Y'all all right? The Holy Quran says in Surah 3, verse 36, and the male is not like the female. That's heavy. Because if the male is not like the female, yet the Holy Quran also tells us in Surah 4, verse 1, that he created the male and the female, two twin halves of a single essence. So we are made of and in possession of the same divine ingredients, but the male is not like the female and the female is not like the male. This means that the recipe or the formula or the way you mine out of a black woman as a black man, or the way you mine out of a black, I said mine. Sisters, can I tell you a secret? Do you know the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said this? You did not marry the man of your dreams. The man of your dreams is inside the man you married. Get to mining him out. They don't want to clap. You didn't want to clap for that. Because it's work. Now you got, black man, you did not marry the woman of your dreams. The woman of your dreams is inside the woman that you married. Get to mining her out. We don't have enough time to go into it. But when you leave today, as a little homework assignment, study the tools, the traits and characteristics that a miner has to have, and figure out how you can translate and transmute the physical traits, attributes, and tools of mining to the spiritual counterpart that you need to use to get the best out of your woman as a man and the best out of your man as a woman. Can y'all do that? Now, one thing for sure, there's a universal, I don't care whether you're mining gold, mining rubies, mining diamonds, there's a universal tool that must be in possession of a miner. A miner must have a helmet, and there must be a light on their head. Spiritually, that means you cannot get the best out of your man unless you are a smart woman. And you can't get the best out of your woman unless you are a wise man. It takes wisdom to be able to mine the man and woman of your dreams out of one another. All praise is due to Allah. We were very concerned when we started putting this lecture together As we searched on books on male and female relationships, books on marriage and books on love, we found over 380,000 books on marriage that are in print right now. But as we scrolled through them, we noticed there were 2 books that should have been at the top of the list but were missing. 380,000 plus books on love, male and female relationships, but you don't have the Bible and Quran in none of them? The male and the female and the institution of marriage was created by the God. In fact, one verse in the Bible says God is love. And if is in mathematics is the equal sign, and you put an equal sign in between 2 things, that means each one has the same power and description. Then God is love. How can you talk about love and not talk about God? Brothers and sisters, the spiritual must always supersede the secular. And in all decision-making processes, revelation must always trump speculation. In other words, our mindset should be, I surrender my body to my mind, and I surrender my mind to my soul. And since the soul is the essence of God deposited in me, I surrender my soul to the exact, perfect Word of God. And I allow the Word of God to inform my soul, that informs my mind, that informs my... Y'all understand what I'm trying to say? Saying all that to say, before you go and read speculation, get revelation. Before you plug into the secular, let's go get some spiritual. It was something that happened in the study of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's part 1 through 3, Keys of Successful Marriage. He lifted in one of the series a chapter from the Bible, and really a verse that I had never even seen like this before. And you know there's some stuff in the Bible that you've never seen before, because you only see what you're looking for. My grandfather told me one day, he said, I've read the Bible at least 40 times from cover to cover. But I had showed him Jeremiah 10, where it talked about the Christmas tree being the way of the heathen, the one that goes out into the wilderness and cut down the tree, the work of the workman with an axe, fasten it with hammer and nails that it moveth not, and then decorate it with silver and gold. He said, I'd never seen this before. You only see what you're looking for. Well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan lifted a verse from the 5th chapter of Ephesians, the 33rd verse, that kind of gives a description of the recipe, the formula, or the method of mining a black man can use to get the best out of a black woman, and a black woman can use to get the best out of a black man. Y'all all right? Listen to the way this verse reads. Each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself. And the wife must respect her husband. Did anybody catch that? Did you notice that the gender-specific command from God to the man was love her, but the gender-specific command from God to the woman was to respect him? This tells us, sisters and brothers, that we speak 2 different love languages. If you want to get the best out of him, respect him. If you want to get the best out of her, you got to love her. I'm trying to help you out now. I'm trying to help you out. You all right? Look, we're going to do a little practice real quick. All right, yeah, brothers, yeah, I'm coming down the court, brothers. Fast break. You see me? You done already pointed up. So I'm coming down the court. And when I throw it up, you're supposed to get it. Not catch it and then land and turn around. You're supposed to dump. This is a practice run. Y'all ready? Brothers, you ready? The last thing that a man wants to come home to after fighting in this world is to have to go round 2 with his own woman. A couple of y'all dunked it, or some of y'all caught it and dropped it. Y'all, okay, watch this. This is how it's supposed to be done. This is how it's supposed to be done. And sisters, the last thing you want to come home to as a black woman after fighting in this world is to come home to a man that ain't been fighting at all. I'm saying, brothers, I'm saying now. Someone said to me in one of the Q&A sessions that we had in the city, they said, but question, if the man got to love the woman and the woman should be respecting the man, then I'm saying, why would Aretha Franklin? May Allah be pleased with that sister. Why would she sing a song called Respect? Did you know, though, that Aretha Franklin sang it in 1967? But the song was written by and originally sang by Otis Redding in 1965? And when they interviewed Otis Redding about the song of Respect, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, do you know what he said? He said, I wrote that song to my wife. So the original song was really a man communicating with a woman, not a woman communicating. If Aretha Franklin had wrote her own song, it wouldn't have been R-E-S, it would have been L-O-V-E. Find out what it means to me, sock it to me. You understand what I'm saying? That's what it would have been. Thank Allah for that mighty queen of soul. Thank Allah for that mighty queen of soul. Do black men need to be loved? Yes. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, respect and protect the black woman. So the black woman needs to be respected. But in the context, love becomes water for the woman while respect is food. And in the interpersonal male and female relationship, respect becomes water for the man while love becomes food. Okay, did nobody agree with me? Okay, let me. In 2012, sisters, they went all over the world on the Today Show, interviewing women and asking them what is it that they desired out of a man. And they came up with 5 basic qualities or traits or functions that they wanted out of a man. They wanted a man that was loyal to her. They wanted a man that would listen to her. They wanted a man that would love her. They wanted a man that could make her laugh. And they wanted a man that would labor for her. There's one quality that they're missing that we got to add to the equation. It's another L. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that a dumb man cannot maintain a woman. So you got to laugh, you got to labor, you got to be loyal, you got to love, you got to listen, but you also got to be a learned man. If you want to be a good husband to a black woman, you got to be a learned man. All praise is due to Allah. First thing she said she wanted was loyalty. Loyalty, loyalty. Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. What? Loyalty. I'm just saying it 3 times. Y'all understand what I'm talking about, Kendrick Lamar and Rihanna? Come on now. As a general rule, most women have been one-man women. But as a general rule, most men have not been one-woman men. What am I saying? Something wrong? And brothers, can I tell you a secret? The downfall of too many men has been the upkeep of too many women. Okay, y'all don't want to clap for that. Okay. I'm going to get you in a minute. The woman wants to know about her man that in a behind everywhere world, when you're not with her, can you keep your discipline? Do you know, brothers, that, can I talk to the brothers for a second? Do you know, brothers, that one of the simple things that a woman said gave her a sense of security that her man was loyal to her was the wearing of a wedding band? Do it up. I mean, never mind. Well, brothers, sisters, am I telling the truth? Whenever you see someone and you're single and you see a man that seems to be attractive, the first thing you do is observe that he is attractive. Second thing you do is you look at the second ring or finger from his left hand to see whether or not that I need to curb my enthusiasm. And if you look down and you see that curbs your enthusiasm. Is that right? But not only, brothers, does a ring on your finger keep the man or the woman away from you, curb her enthusiasm. But our brother Neo, he has a song called Good Man. He talks about doing everything with his left hand. Part of the reason he's talking about doing everything with his left hand is to let everybody know I'm taken. The other reason why he's doing it is to let himself know. So the wedding ring can become security or a divine reminder. Y'all all right? All praise is due to Allah. Next, she wanted a man that would labor for her. Women are attracted to and stay in love with and excited about hard-working men. Am I telling the truth, sisters? So as a man, as a man, you got to be a hunter. I said you got to be a hunter. That's the reason why the high performance habits that God gave the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, number one, Fajr prayer, waking up early in the morning. When you're a hunter, you got to get up early. It's something about waking up at 4:30 in the morning while it's still dark outside, knowing that I got to go out here and compete with 6 billion people on the planet to get something for my family. But they still sleep and I'm awake. I'm going to pray. I'm going to study. I'm going to plan my work, and I'm going to work my plan, and I'm going to go out into the world and conquer the world for my family and my nation. All praise is due to Allah. A man has to be a worker. A man has to be a doer. A man has to be a go-getter and a go-giver. Let me tell you something, brother. A real man gets more joy out of his wife having pleasure from what he spent his money on than getting pleasure out of what he bought for himself with his own money. A real man does. A real man does. And sisters, a real woman that's in love with her man she gets more joy out of seeing him happy than anything she could do to make herself happy. Oh, Brother Supreme, it's getting rough, it's getting rough. About 36 people agree with me. Oh, Lord. Okay, example. There's a story of a very poor couple that lived in Mali thousands of years ago. When the poor man came home and seen his wife, she was beautiful, very long hair, and the wife came to the husband and said, honey, to take care of the health of my hair and to stay beautiful, I really need this expensive comb. And he said, yes, ma'am, I understand, but my watch broke. My watch band broke. And I need the watch for work. So I can't get you a comb right now. I got to find a way to get a watch band so I can work. She said, no problem. They left. The man woke up the next day, went to work. On his way home, he was walking past a watch store. He looked inside the watch store and said, let me go inside. He went in there and sold his broke watch, took the money and went and bought his wife the comb that she was looking for. This man was so excited. As he came home, he opened the door. He yells for his wife to come. She comes out. He says, honey, look, I got something for you. And when she came out, he was shocked because his wife had cut all her hair off. And he said, honey, why would you, what did you do? I sold my broke watch to buy you the comb. And she said, well, honey, I sold my hair to buy you a new watch band. See, real love is about competing with one another in service of one another, getting more joy out of making the other one happy than out of anything you can do for yourself. Oh, shoot. I got 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Y'all all right? As a man, we have to listen to our women. Women communicate different. Men think it out. Women talk it out. As men, we have to love our women. We have to show them and not just express to them by paying bills, but express it verbally. There's 3 things that you can say that'll help your wife know that you love her. Number 1, I'm telling you, say I love you. That'll put a smile on her face. Number 2, say you're beautiful. Number 3, say I miss you. Try it out. No. Now let me, just a disclaimer. You can't try all of them out at the same time. You can't wait till everything that went to hell and say, baby, hold on, no. Hold on. I love you, you're beautiful, and I miss you. Laughter. A sense of humor is a sense of security. When you meet a man that does not have a sense of humor, you look at a man that don't generally have a sense of security. A woman wants to know that in the world that's going down, no matter how bad it is, my man is not disturbed. He operates with an unbothered atmosphere. Kind of like you seen from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at the Aretha Franklin funeral. That was an unbothered atmosphere that man carries with him, where he was of himself and in himself secure. And for the man, brothers, love her, respect him. The first R in respect, if we break it down to an acronym, y'all know what an acronym is, right? It's when you take a word and put it together and every letter in the word represents another word, like the CIA, the Cocaine Import Agency, FBI finding a black man to incarcerate, media most effective devil in America, NAACP, Negroes always asking Caucasians permission, or luck, laboring under correct knowledge, or focus, following one course until. So when you take respect and make it into an acronym, the R stands for respect itself. Find a way to honor your man as often as you can. Number 2 is esteem. E, esteem. Esteem is not respect in the private. Esteem is respect in the public. If you want to be up, all the way up, sisters, where nothing can stop you because you're all the way up, don't just respect your man. Show respect and honor and praise your man in front of other men that he respects. The S is next. The S stands for bless his sight with the way you carry yourself. Sisters, don't be beautiful for the world and raggedy for your husband. Did you hear me? It's a way of being cute and comfortable at the same time. Be cute and comfortable. Y'all with me? The other S is speech. Bless the man with kind speech. He don't want to lose a cussing contest with you all the time. Men don't want a loud woman or a woman that cusses them out. So be kind in speech. Y'all all right? P, show that man that he has power. Let him do things that you can give him a compliment for doing, whether it's lifting something, whether it's doing something, whether it's handling business. Observe your man and his operations and compliment that man and let him know you're a powerful black man. R-E-S-P-E, the next E, what does he eat? See, as a woman, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that a real wife is not just a cook or a chef. A real wife is a food scientist. Do you know what that means? It's your job to turn your kitchen into a laboratory. And you are to study the man and his purpose and his function and see how many carbohydrates he needs, how many amino acids, how much protein, how much fiber does he need? I need to know the exact science of the exact amount of caloric intake and the sufficient amount of protein that my man needs in order to eat at 6 p.m. on Wednesday and wake up at 5 a.m. on Thursday ready to be the hunter that I need him to be to build a legacy for my family. So you got to be a food scientist. You got to be a food scientist. C. Next C, show compassion to your husband. Be considerate of your husband. Do you know that we live in a world that is diametrically opposed to black people's rising in general, but diametrically opposed to black men rising in specific? The number one threat to white supremacy is the rise of a black man. So everywhere we go, sisters, the white man loves telling your husband no. They love not answering the phone. No, the white man will give you and I, they'll give a black man a $200,000 loan for a plastic house. The same bank will give a black man a $100,000 loan for an education that won't work whenever he leaves the school. Oh, yes, he will. They'll give you an $80,000 loan for an Escalade. But you go to that same bank and ask as a black man for a $10,000 small business loan and you can't get nothing. Everywhere we go, it's always no. So when you understand that when the white man has a world and we go out as black men in the world, it's warfare for us. So be considerate, be compassionate. Last but not least, T. Train your children to love their father. Train your children to love their father. Your children should have the spirit that when they hear them keys jingling in their door, that the sons and the daughters run out there and grab daddy's leg, jump up in daddy's arms. And let me tell you something, sister, if your house has children running to the door, grabbing daddy's legs, jumping up in daddy's arms, and it's clean, neat, and organized, and he can smell fresh bean soup and bread from the background, and then he looks behind his sons and daughters and sees you standing there cute and comfortable, you and I will be able to officially say at that point, we have now converted our houses into the appropriate spiritual recharge centers by which we can unplug from this wicked world and come home and plug into a pure source of love where we both can get peace and happiness. I don't know about you, but I want you to have that Farrakhan Khadijah type of love. Don't you want it? We can do it if we follow the code. Thank you for listening. I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah.
Let's show our appreciation for student minister Nuri Muhammad here at Mas Mariam this morning. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Thank you all so much, sisters and brothers. Please be seated. Is everybody all right? Man, we had a lot more to cover, but Allah's the best knower. Brothers and sisters, we appreciate the visit of all, whether this is your 1,000th time coming or not. But we are especially elated for the sisters and the brothers that came out to Mosque Mariam or whatever mosque you are visiting in our nation today for the very first time. And I want to ask a question. How many of you sisters or brothers came out and this is your first time being with us? Can we see your hand? I see a few brothers here, a few sisters. Now, so everybody else has been here before. Did you all get some news that you could use? Do you think that what was said today would add value to your life? All praise is due to Allah. Those sisters and brothers that were here for your first time that raised your hand, I want to ask you a question. How many of you believe that what you heard today is true and good for our people and you'll come back? Can I see your hand? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, sisters and brothers that raised your hand, we want to know that if you believe it's true and good for our people, you know preaching alone is not going to get us where we need to be. We have to plug into a process. We have at our headquarters here and around our nation a process that can help us to go from what we are now to what it is that we desire to be, which is the ideal person or the best version of ourselves. I want to ask today of our first-time guests, maybe it might even be your second or third time and you didn't stand up the last time. I want to ask, if you believe it's true and good for our people, you're going to come again, you want to not just preach, get it preaching, but you want to process. I want to ask if you are willing to join on with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam to help us in the work of restoration and resurrection of our people. Will y'all do that? Any sisters or brothers that's willing to stand up like that, let me see your hand. The first-time guests, my sisters, my brothers. Stand up, brothers. Stand up, sisters, please. Thank you so much, sisters and brothers. Well, my sisters, my brothers, if you all will come down to the middle, sisters first, sisters come down front, brothers, you come down to the middle. I'd like to have the distinct honor on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and our National Assistant Minister, Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad, and all the believers of goodwill, just to shake your hand. Is that all right with y'all?
Thank you, all of those who accept this truth, represented today by Student Minister Nuri Muhammad on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that want to be a part of the Nation of Islam. Please make your way forward at this time to shake the hand of Student Minister Nuri Muhammad on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. Thank you, Brother Student Minister. May Allah continue to bless you. We want to acknowledge his lovely wife that accompanied him and travels with him all over the country as he goes and represents the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Sister Terry Muhammad. Where is Sister Terry Muhammad? Well, let's give her a well-deserved round of applause for her love and support of her husband. Those of you who don't have a copy of the monumental book by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Message to the Black Man, you need to get a copy of that book. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his chief helper, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us more about the divinity of the black woman than any teacher before them. The divinity of the woman, the importance and the value of her. And I want you, if you go to our website, finalcall.com, do an engine search and just put in this keyword, the black woman. And several articles of the minister will come up, all of them teaching us about the divinity of the black woman, not as a woman of man, but a woman of God. And the keys that Brother Student Minister Nuri taught to us today, it's all rooted in this one key principle. You can't respect what you don't have a knowledge of. You can't honor the black woman outside of the knowledge of her in relationship to God. You can't love without God. The scriptures tell us that God is love. So to love each other, to love our woman, is to first love God. And once you and I are rooted in God, then we will see his divinity in our women, in our men, in each other. That is the immeasurable beauty and majesty and value of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as a teacher from God to black people. No teacher teaches us about the black woman like Minister Farrakhan. Let us thank Allah for him, and let us learn to love each other as we should. So go to thefinalcall.com and bring up all of those wonderful articles. And there, he mentioned several, but I'll add two more. Why Allah Hates Divorce, part 1 and 2. And in those two articles, the minister goes into the nature of the male and the female and the demands that the two natures make on each other. Just brilliant and profound articles from the minister. So this was a great subject for all of us, because a nation can rise no higher than its woman, and a strong family equals a strong nation. Let's give one more well-deserved round of applause to our brother, Student Minister Nuri Muhammad. Thank you.
All praise is due to Allah. Let's again show our appreciation for Student Minister Nuri Muhammad this morning. With that being said, how are you all feeling now? I know you are. You're looking beautiful. We're going to ask our brothers and sisters to come down the aisle with the charity receptacles. We were just taught about love, right?